Feels good to be back again with you. Our world famous STI shrink. By the way, STI shrink.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Mm, I think people just got used to calling me that. I think it is based on the fact that I've been able to help a lot of people to navigate their experiences when they came in contact with infections, different phases of the experience.
Well, to actually listen to them.
Yes.
Because,
infection is not something that people are willing to share, first of all, with the world. So having somebody that is always there, attentive, wanting to hear them speak and also provide them with the right remedy, especially when they've tried everything and they are unable, to get rid of it. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, good. And before we delve into the main topic for today,
Okay.
we would like you to mention the 4 types of infection.
Oh, okay. Infections can be classified into 4 different groups.
Okay.
There is the viral infection, the bacterial infection, the fungal infection, and the parasitic infection.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then could you mention 7 bacterial infections, 4 viral infections, 2 fungal infections, and 1 parasitic infection?
Okay, so I'll start with 7 bacterial infections.
That's right.
Okay, I think I'll start with pelvic inflammatory disease, which is often called PID. There is urinary tract infection,
2.
known as UTI. There is chlamydia.
3.
There is syphilis. There is gonorrhea.
5.
There is Staphylococcus aureus.
6.
And of course, Streptococcus.
7. All these ones are bacterial.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then 4 viral.
Okay, viral. I'll start with HIV, which is human immunodeficiency virus. Then there is HPV, human papillomavirus. There is herpes, HSV, herpes simplex virus, and of course there is hepatitis A, B, and C. Then
that takes us to 2 fungal.
Okay, 2 fungal infections I would like to name candidiasis and jock H. And of course the parasitic, right?
Yes.
Okay, that would be trichomoniasis.
All right, let's delve in. We would like to know,
Okay.
when one goes for a general test in the laboratory,
Okay.
does that test cover all infections?
No. When you visit the laboratory for a test, a general test,
Yes.
they often carry out tests for HIV, maybe hepatitis B, syphilis, of course, gonorrhea, and the rest. But infections like HPV and herpes, they don't really think much about them because for HPV, men can't be tested for it, but for herpes, minds don't really go towards that area. This is one of the reasons why we advise people that once they find out that they are developing symptoms of certain infections, or they notice that their partner is developing them, they should try to do their research, talk to a specialist, who may be able to tell them what it is, because a lot of times
A shrink.
Yes. Exactly, because a lot of times people often mistake certain infections for other infections. For HPV and herpes, which are almost the most popular infections globally, many people are carriers of them. But you see that when some people come in contact with either of them, they don't know what they are because they don't know about the symptoms. So they would just start thinking that what they have is a bacterial infection, or it's syphilis, and the rest. That's why when they go for those tests, it will come out that, oh, this is what it is. And if they go for that general test and the result now comes back clean, in their mind, they would assume that, oh, they do not have any infection. But then they have symptoms of viral infections a lot of times. Maybe they have recurring outbreaks of herpes, or they have genital warts. So when they come, some of them, when they come to reach out to us, and then we are telling them that, oh, this is what it says, you will see some of them will start saying, oh no, see my test result, it is clean. I've gone for tests, nothing is there. Wow. Then we will start asking them, we'll be like, could you kindly give us your herpes test result? They'll be like, oh, I talked to the lab technician and I told him to give me, to run all the tests necessary. But then this is what my result says. By the time we look at them, it's not there. And of course, an infection like herpes, it is not all laboratories in Nigeria, that have the proper equipment, to run it. We've seen cases where some of our clients go to certain laboratories where they actually send the blood samples abroad, yeah. So, and of course, it is not everybody that can afford that. There was a client that reached out to us some days ago. We asked her to go and test for herpes since she was getting the symptoms. But then she comes back like 2 days later and she's like, oh, I went to test for herpes, but the money was too much. I just told them to run a swab test for me. Please, this is what the result says. But then by the time we are looking at it, we see that what she has is still herpes. So somebody like that, she's trying to cut corners. But then what can we do in this case? So we just have to actually help her or treat her. At the end of the day, she just told us that we should consider the herpes, when we are providing her with the remedy.
Wow, okay, interesting. Secondly, we would like to know, can one know specifically when they got infected with an STI? Like when specifically?
I think that percentage is very slim. The chances are slim, especially in a place like Nigeria. Let's start with mothers. When a woman goes to the hospital to try to give birth to a beautiful baby or babies, as long as that child is crying, the lungs are open, the doctors often just ask the mom to take the baby home. And, without running a proper checkup on the baby to know their status. And of course, we Africans, we don't really like going to the hospital like that. We prefer the traditional way. So many people, maybe the phobia of, oh, I can't afford this, or I don't want to go there, and then they will come up with something that was not there in my body. Yeah. So they just don't want to get themselves checked or not. So this may now be a case for someone who maybe the father was already infected, maybe is a carrier of a viral infection, because if a man has an infection like HIV, HPV, hepatitis B or A or C, and any other viral infection, there are high chances of him passing the virus to his offspring. Whereas if a woman is the carrier of that infection, it is 50-50. Yes, because there are certain types of medications, injections that can be given to either the child or the mom, to prevent her from passing it on to her offspring. Yes. So now in a place like Africa, where people don't really, it's either they can't afford, going to the laboratory, or they are not enlightened, about it. So they don't know. This is when they now come in contact with it. A lot of people actually, immediately they go out to the laboratory, something is wrong, and they get tested for one reason or the other. Once they find out that this thing is wrong with them, they will start going around and start thinking in their mind that it was when they went and got tested that they got infected with that infection.
Wow.
Yeah, but there are certain parents actually who actually care, they are meticulous about health because they are already enlightened about these things. They know their status. So by the time they start to have children, They make sure that they pay routine visits to the hospital to check them. So this way, if anything strange comes into the body of that child, that child would be aware of what is going on. They'll be able to catch it in time, even when that child grows into an adult. So we always advise people that every year you should try as much as possible to get yourself checked.
All right, that's very, very helpful.
Okay.
Thirdly, a question actually popped up the last time we sat,
Okay.
and someone was asking, does having a laser treatment guarantee the total eradication of genital warts?
No, it doesn't. Because laser treatment is just an avenue to get rid of visible warts on the skin. It doesn't change the fact that the person is still a carrier of that virus. Yeah. So, and there are different strains of HPV, because HPV is a virus that triggers warts in the body. So there are strains, low risks actually, that trigger these warts in the bodies of people. There are people that once they come in contact with this, the warts may just come and they need to go, because it is believed that within 2 years of being infected with HPV, it should leave the system. But some people, once they find out that they have warts, because a lot of them don't know what it is, as it is growing, they cut it off.
Ooh,
once they cut it off,
scary.
It starts to spread. You'll see some people, you'll see lots of warts,
Forest of warts.
It's a forest. Yeah. And this happened just because they were not educated about it. So using laser, it may remove it temporarily, but it doesn't guarantee that the warts would be permanently gone from the skin too, because it can come back.
Fantastic. Well, you enlightened us again. Can't wait to have you back in the studio again.
Thank you.
It was such a lovely time with you.
Always.
We just want to say thank you.
You're welcome.